Welcome back, boys and girls. This is the NAO show. If it sounds like my soul has left my body, that's because Travis Kelsey stole it. This is the league where dreams get killed, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. But we have one constant, and that is Silly Dilly lost again. Welcome to the
Yay.
show, guys.
Yay. I
How
thought
y'all doing?
Travis Kelsey had a great
You can eat shit and die. This is how
night.
this.
Yeah,
Well, Tank Top Mike's off the show officially. How do you feel, Marky Mark? You
somebody
want to
else
go
was
for two
on
for two?
somebody else was on the other end of those Kelsey touchdowns. So somebody else was probably just fine with all that going on.
Well, it could have just went to fucking CEH if he had just turned his fucking head around.
Yeah,
Big old doink right off the side of his head.
yeah.
Thank you.
You get a play like that, and it's like you're toast, man. You don't come back from that in the same game.
All right,
Usually.
let's kick this right now. All right, because some asshat in the chat said CEH was bad. All right, and CEH was fucking running back 4 going into this week. Running back 4. All right. This fucking asshat said he was bad because he had one fucking game and it just so happens to be against him. Shocker, it was fucking Ian that said this dumb shit. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to say some fucking ridiculous shit, but I kind of expect him to have a little bit of information under his stupidity. He was running back 4 going into the week. Eat shit and die. All right, let's go ahead with the show.
Dang.
Expecting Ian to be like logical. I don't think that's a good bet, man.
Slightly logical, only
The smart
slightly.
the smart money is he's going to say whatever stupid shit he can to irritate the hell out of you or
But
anybody else for that
it
matter.
never works though. So
No, that's true. Sean is so restrained that it just rolls right off his back. You gotta love that. Well,
I have never once told him to die, all right? Not one time.
no, no.
yes, officer, this recording right here.
Not only have you told him to die, you have told him to die in very specific ways,
Yeah.
and you don't seem to be lacking for new ways. I keep thinking you're gonna run out, but you come up with something else. That's pretty cool, man. Got to
You
hand it
know,
to you there.
he does do one thing for me, and that's motivate me to come up with new and inventful ways to think of him dying. So, yeah.
A boy can dream. All right. Well, let's keep it on tilt and let's talk about the trade we had in the league this week. We had our boy Silly Dilly
Ooh,
trading with the
wait.
DBs.
Silly Dilly made a good trade, right? I mean, after all the shows that he's listened on the NAO show and all of our fantastic analysis of all of his trades, he made a good trade, right? Tell me
I,
he made a good trade.
I want to say he's improving.
You want to say? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. I want to say he's improving.
All
Not
right.
quite, not quite there yet, but a boy can dream.
Mm.
All right, let's break it down here. Dylan got Daniel Jones,
Oh,
Johnu
he's shit.
Johnu
Go ahead.
Smith,
He's shit.
Antonio Gibson,
Mm.
a 2023 first, which was the DB's pick.
All right. Pick 8, 9, or 10.
The DB's got DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Leonard Fournette, and a 2025 second, which was Dylan's. Another way to say what the DB's got was all the decent players that Dylan had left. But I digress. Let's break it down, guys. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mike.
So I had to mull this one over. It's a great word.
You did?
Mull. Yeah. I really did. Because you have a rebuilder trading with one of the top teams, going after the win this year. So I think it's an interesting one. So it's not just surface level stuff going on.
Okay. All right.
My first instinct on this was I hated it for the DBs. I absolutely hated it for them. I thought it was dumb. Um, And maybe it could be, I don't know, but they are going after it, so I applaud them for that. Fournette is obviously going to help when the playoffs come around. He's going to be doing well again. Hopkins, he could come back and be okay. It's a little bit of a gamble with him. Like we talked about, Lockett's going to do what he always does. Dilly definitely needed to get younger. He did that. Daniel Jones, I think, I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's that great, but he didn't have quarterbacks for next year. He potentially had 0, so good get there. A first-round pick, always good to have, even though it's probably going to be late. And Antonio Gibson's still a young guy. McKissick won't be there very much longer, if at all. So, Robinson's probably going to come in and steal some touches from Gibson. Anyway, my point here is I think my first thought was it was bad for the underdogs because their whole thing, and my favorite part about their roster, was youth and picks. And they sent some youth, they sent some picks, and it just seemed to be against what they're doing. I forgot that they have won some games, so they're trying to go after it. So then it made a little bit more sense. For Dilly, like I said, it made sense for him because he got younger and got some good picks. He needed some. So there we go. I rambled a little bit. I mulled too long.
Well, I think you're right in some aspects, and I think you're wrong in some other aspects, because Dilly got his pick, the first round pick. I get it. He had a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick on a team that he needed to rebuild. I think he shot his load way too fucking early. Lockett is 4 weeks in a row where he's been not the Lockett that we're used to, the boom bust character, but he has had 10 plus points in the last 4 weeks. That's why freaking Evan went after him, or Brandon. Give credit where credit is due. Leonard Fournette is a better asset than Antonio Gibson is. I couldn't care less about the age because Antonio Gibson's going to be a backup to Robinson, like you said. And if you need McKissick to leave for him to be relevant, he's not worth Leonard Fournette. And the pick that they gave up, a first-round pick, in a year where they had 2 anyways, they got a second-round pick in 3 years where they can just either sit on it and get another second-round pick, which is going to be a good pick. I mean, second round's still pretty good, regardless of where it's at. Or just use it and go get another guy. So the DBs get they move a pick in a couple of years. They get 2 guys that they can start automatically, which they did. They started Fournette automatically. And Hopkins, he's a dart throw. We don't know how he's going to come back. I mean, he's had a bunch of time to get healthy, so you would expect him to be okay, at least. And Murray and the offensive coordinator are going to game plan for him to get the ball targeted to him. So
I'm going to
Dilly,
defend myself
yes,
here quick, though. I'm going to say we're in a dynasty, so next year absolutely comes into play. So if McKissick leaves and then Robinson and Gibson are 1-2 punch, there you go. I'm just saying, and then like you said, Hopkins, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't touch that guy with any pick that I have at all.
Yeah, me either.
Lockett, honestly, same thing. He'll do well. Then you can prove me. You can show me I'm wrong any random week, but I can show you that I'm going to be right just as many random weeks because the guy's up and down. The only prize in this is Fournette, to be honest, as a win now team. So I would have gone smaller. I would have targeted just Fournette, done nothing else, called it a victory. And then next year, if McKissick leaves, you have Gibson. Like we've talked about how many times on this show, there's no bell cow running backs anymore. So
that's true.
There you go.
What do you think, Mark?
Yay, I get to go. So there's a theme here with Dylan's trades where he always seems to throw in a Patriot in there that's just really not worth trading for, most likely. But Jonnu Smith's another one where he got one of his boys, one of his guys, and he's out right now. So that one was a head scratcher. He still needs to put a roster out there. Gibson could be like the new McKissick, depending on how they decide to use him. He's really a receiver, that was a crazy thing about him coming in. He was a receiver, They brought him as a running back because he had the size. You can see that he's not really suited for running back. He's more suited for receiver. But now they got John Dotson in there. They traded for I guess they signed Samuel. Already had McLaurin. It's not like they need another receiver there. So I don't know. Gibson could be a good player in this league if he was on a team that maybe didn't have as much in the wide receiver depth. But I don't see that happening much on Washington. And I don't know. There's so much question surrounding Gibson that I don't know that I would have traded for him at all. I do like Jones though. I think he's kind of to me he's sort of the new Andy Dalton. He's that mid guy, middle of the pack guy that you kind of judge all the other quarterbacks by. But they got, instead of the Dalton line, you got the Daniel Jones line now. For the DBs, I think it was a good move right here before bye start because they've got a little bit of depth going on now. Because Lockett's been hot. Fournette's been doing pretty well and so with buys coming up, you want all the depth you can have. I think if I haven't talked to him about it, but when I look at it, I kind of see like, okay, I see what they're doing. Get a little bit of depth here, show up the flex. Keeping on, and they're showing up the flex. So Hopkins, I agree. I wouldn't have touched him for anything. I disagree with Lockett a little bit. He is boomer bust. He's not a guy I want to try to make that decision on every week. And you can see they sat him, so even they weren't convinced to put him in the lineup. But man, if he is pressed into action, he can do something for you sometimes. So he's been pretty consistent so far, surprisingly, because Geno Smith's his quarterback. So looking, one last thing on this though, if Dylan had Lockett and Fournette and started him this week, he might have beat Goofy. Because they got like 55 points between them. And if he'd have had that in his lineup, man, he could have pushed for the win over Goofy. So I think Goofy is a big fan of this trade. I haven't asked him, but I'll point that out to him and we'll see what he thinks about this trade. Because I think he's pro DBs on this trade.
Goofy's pro people trading away all their best assets right before playing him.
Yeah. Well, anything else on that, or you guys want to go on to the scores?
Moving on.
All right. We're going to start off with Tank Top Mike and the A-Bombers. What a matchup this was, man. Tank Top 210.36. I usually round up or down, but we're going to say the whole 210.36. A-Bombers 187. One of those matchups where you hate that someone has to lose it. Mike, I'm just going to grab my coffee while you take a lap or two here.
Yeah, I feel like I was telling Aaron before this started, every game that we ever have is like this. It's like something like this happens. I think, last season it was pretty high scoring as well. I got blown out in the finals, I suppose. But I feel like something like this always goes down when we play. And I said to him, like, let's just have a nice one. And then here we go. He started out with, I think, an immediate 16 points from Gabe Davis and the 98-yard touchdown. And I was like, well, it was fun while it lasted for 1 minute. But yeah, man, it was cool though. I mean, they are kind of fun matchups, but they're super stressful, and from Thursday morning to Monday night, which sort of sucks. But I think that the big elephant in the room here is Taysom Hill at tight end though with 34 points, and I'm going to defend myself by saying I had Evan Engram in, and I still would have won with Evan Engram. So Taysom Hill did not necessarily get me the win outright. So, but yeah, just a fun matchup. I think the weekly report was pretty cool that we started the highest scoring. Everybody at skill position was in this matchup, so it was pretty fun.
That was awesome, man. Hill got you those points, man. The points make a big difference, as you guys know.
They'll forget that he exists for the next 3 weeks, and then he'll do this again, and then.
Yeah. I keep wondering if they'll change his status. It just seems like they should. He shouldn't be tight end.
What should he be? Wide receiver?
Yeah, and if you put him at quarterback, if there was a way just to call him flex,
I'm surprised.
You could flex.
Evan was right. He had 9 carries. So at some point, it's probably running back that would.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Which would be that's kind of weird too. I mean, none of them really sound right. It'd
mm-hmm.
be nice if he could just be a flex or even a super flex in one of those leagues,
Because unnamed tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs had a certain number of points, which was less than Taysom Hill, who caught exactly 0 passes.
Yeah, yeah. I think he had 2 targets, though, right? Am I correct
Oh,
in
he
that?
might. They usually don't throw to him much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Seemed like I heard he had 2 targets in some of my podcast listening, but I can't confirm that. But I was like, yeah, the least of his stats was what the tight end would be. So, but we'll see what they do. As long as they keep him tight end, yeah, maybe he's a good start now and then, like I said. But yeah, he had like almost 15 points, and then I picked him up on waivers. And what do you do for me? Like 1 point or something,
Yeah, that's what they do.
some
They
crap
just
like
forget
that,
him. Mm-hmm.
And I dropped him so that you could get these points this week. So I just did honestly, I didn't. You said the elephant in the room, and I just didn't like having him. Just with the fact that how do you put it? What do you put his status? How do you rate him? It's weird. It's kind of a weird thing, and someone's going to whine about it at some point. So I didn't want to be rostering him as the commissioner, really.
I'll do it.
I think it's funny that Abom still scored 183 points, and Parker gave him absolutely nothing, and a guy that he traded for, Najee Harris, only gave him 5.1 points, but he still scored 180 something points.
Yeah.
That just tells you how good the rest of his lineup did this week.
Yeah, and he had a kind of a blah day from Evans. That's not what we expect out of Evans most of the time. So yeah, those 3 right there that you mentioned, that's what, and he still get 187 is pretty amazing. But say the same thing on Mike's side, man. He had 3 guys. He had three starters that were not in double digits. So he had Pittman at 8.4, DJ Moore at 8.7. The Rams defense 4 points, total of 21.1 points right there. But with the other 7, he scored 189.26, which still would have gotten him the win. So he could have goosed on 3. He could have sat 3 of them. Could have had an
What
illegal
were we saying
roster in
last
there.
week that we were being propped up by a particular dude? Tank Top Mike was just propped up by his whole fucking team over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how propping up works when your whole team scores 20 or more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do admit, though, our league historian was chatting with me during the game, and right before I was kind of putting the game off, and Ian was like, "You're close to 200 points," and I was like, "Shut up, I know." And then he's like, "You're also really close to the league record," and it was if I'd started the Colts is the only one that I know I missed on. The other ones, I feel like I did all right, but I whiffed on the Colts. It cost me by like 14 or by 8 points or something like that. I would have had the record by. So, oh well.
Yeah. Colts didn't seem like a great start either, but ended up working out from that crap Thursday game. It's weird to me, Mike. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? He got the Miyagi, and this week you almost get the record, man. So that's fantasy in a nutshell, man. The highs and the lows, man.
I hate fucking fantasy football, just so we all know, and it's on the record. I hate fucking fantasy football. All right, on to the next one.
All right, we're gonna go with the DBs 132, FNG 94. So the DBs were lucky to get FNG on a bit of a down week for them. They did get it done to stay on top despite being 3rd in scoring now. Want to start us off, Sean, on this one?
Yeah, talking about being propped up, only 4 guys did something for the DBs. Derrick Henry came out and smashed. Their new asset, Leonard Fournette, came out and dropped the 30 bomb. And then CMC hit on the same day as Derrick Henry, so you're just automatically going to win, right? If Derrick Henry and CMC is on your team, they both hit, you automatically win. That's the rules. So, and then Hunt had 13 points, which is always good. Looking over here on the FNG side, he had a couple guys that do well. I mean, Goddard did well for him. Cooper did well for him, but that's pretty much it. And it would have been funny if he had started Mariota over Goff. He would have had more points that way. Goff had a fucking horrible day, unfortunately.
The highest scoring offense in the league puts up a goose egg.
Scored 0 points. That's why we hate fantasy football, because you think
Yeah.
you know all this shit, and then when you actually play the game and nothing happens. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at FNG started the Arizona defense, and I just wrote down on my sheet here Arizona DST. Really? Like, why would anybody start them? You know, and you got New England
In
sitting there.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, and so if he's got New England and Mariota in there, man, I'm not going to try to do the math because I'll hurt myself. But you know, he's in the game. He's in the matchup if he does that. So didn't have a lot else going on. Like I said, Goff came back down to earth. Sanders was disappointing after smashing the week before, and he should have smashed again. But Sanders, man, he's just so up and down.
He was a touchdown away from being a smash again.
Yeah, I mean, he might have looked a little better, but man, big disappointment after the week before. But I guess the good news for FNG is Ramondre, man. He had a big game, and now that Harris is out,
Harris going down.
yeah, looks like that's going to be a good start for him moving forward. But yeah, I think we touched on all the highlights there. It's playoff Lenny. It seems to be starting a little early, man. I'd be a little worried that if
yeah.
he's peaking now, then what's going to happen
Don't
down
peak
the
too early,
stretch?
Lenny.
Yeah, I know, man.
We
Come
need
on.
you for the playoffs, bruh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Lenny was the prize in that trade, and that's exactly why. And then this is a perfect example of why I wouldn't want Lockett on my team, because he's going to go off for 30 points on your bench. You put him in,
Yeah.
he goes off for 4. I don't want that. I don't want to have to do that.
No, I agree.
You know what?
I'm not saying Lockett's a bad get. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't want to have to do that every week. And now they have to. And let's have Ian, if you're listening, let's pull the tape on their efficiency metrics. Let's see how good they're going to do on this going the rest of the season.
Yeah, true. Yeah, when Lockett first became a thing, I picked him up on waivers in my first year of Dynasty. And then after putting him in the lineup for 3-4 weeks, I was like, okay, this sucks. So he had a good week, and I shopped him around, and I traded him, and was never happier because I see him get 40 and then 5, and it's like, yeah, I don't want that, man. That's just a headache and a half. Because then you're starting him on the wrong weeks,
Mm-hmm.
You take him out because he got you 5, and he gets you 40 on the bench, and you're like, son of a bitch. Yeah.
Let's just make one thing. Poo Crew is 100% listening to this show right now.
Okay. Speaking of Poo Crew, let's go on to his score.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I delayed it as long as I could, but we gotta give the score here. So we got Poo Crew 140, the Prince 118. This was really exciting coming into Monday night, man. But then the Raiders defense decided they'd focus on the second, third, and fourth best options on the Kansas City instead of focusing on the number one. Kind of sucks for you, Sean. You wanna continue? I think we talked a little bit about it, but you want to continue on with this?
All right, so Travis Kelsey gets his first touchdown. I kicked my chair from the living room into the kitchen. That was the first touchdown.
Well, and that was the one where CEH has got to call it back, right?
Yeah, I don't want to relive it again. That'll be fantastic.
Dude, I was hurting just as bad.
The second touchdown, I scared the shit out of my cat because I got up and flipped my chair. And by the third touchdown, I said, fuck this, I'm going to bed. This is the worst game ever. I hate fantasy football. I'm never playing again. If anybody wants my team, they can fucking have it. I'm done. I'm over it. This is horrible because this is the second fucking time in 2 years that it's come down to the last guy on my team to just get me over the damn hump. And this is the first week that CEH freaking doesn't have 10 plus points, which is what I needed. I needed him to get 2 touchdowns. I was like, all right, Kelsey's gonna get one, at least one, probably some more yards. He'll probably get a bunch of targets. That's what I was expecting from Kelsey. I think that's a reasonable understanding of what you can expect from Kelsey. But no, he has to go fucking out, get 25 yards, which is stupid that he only had 25 yards on 7 targets. But he had fucking four touchdowns. The first time ever in his long ass career that he's ever had 4 touchdowns. Do you think the fucking Raiders would have adjusted? Oh, we probably shouldn't let him get the third or the fourth one. But no, we'll just let him keep on fucking coming back into this game and freaking getting every touchdown. Oh, it's the fucking red zone? We should probably guard the best fucking player on their team. Nah, let's not do that. Let's just let him come back. And Deontay Johnson had it right. He should have pushed more fucking people, but the people should have been on his team, like a defensive coordinator and the safeties and the linebackers. He should have pushed those assholes because they fucking failed him. All right.
You know, and I think one of those. I'll let you go in just a second, Mike. But I think they ran the same play twice. I haven't looked at the film, but it was like the two of the tight ends going out with one. You know, Kelsey's ends up out front, and the other one's trailing a little bit. It's almost like probably like a natural pick play, and it's like they even ran the same play twice and got touchdowns off it, which that's unacceptable, man. You can't see that and then say, okay, we're you got to watch for that. Next time they line up that way, you got to watch for that play. What'd you think, Mike?
I think our league had a very eventful Monday night game, which I thought went fine. But I see now that there are other opinions about how the game went.
I don't, I don't know which side of the stand you're on, I guess.
Some of us have big feelings about the game.
I do. I think one thing that we all forgot about was we thought that what's his name, old Zippy there, might outscore Burrow. That's what Brandon said, and Burrow pulled it out for you. So at least you got a victory there. It's a small one because Brandon real small, but you got a victory out of it. But so there you go. I think you can hang your hat on that at least.
Well, Mixon, man, he's been getting the volume, but he hasn't been putting up the points. So that's kind of hurting you, Sean, with him in your top spot there. And you got Denver so freaking dysfunctional, trying to get Judy in there, who should be able to do something, and they just can't get out of their own way. I wonder if Waddle's hurting. Of course, Skyler came in there. What was that on the first series? I think that you had Skylar Thompson come in there, so that
Yeah.
hurt Waddle. If Waddle might be hobbled a little bit, and then put in a third string quarterback, and you had CEH drop that pass, like you said, man, and maybe that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. So, yeah, some tough stuff going on for you there. And then on the inside, man, you got a goose from T. Higgins, which I had to suffer that in another league, which really sucked, man. For them to.
Well, I think that's what hurt my feelings the most is because I thought I had hope.
Yeah,
Higgins
yeah,
had 0, and I was like,
right.
oh, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a goose egg. Is he going to beat me with a goose egg?
Amon Ra wasn't up to snuff. Of course, they didn't do, none of them did anything, but you have to wonder if Amon Ra is 100% or not. Even Debo only got 10.2 points, Yeah, without that Kelsey smash, you're in the game, But that was the difference. That was the whole difference, unfortunately.
Propped.
Like I said, it was looking exciting going into that game Monday. So
I think my cat's going to have PTSD for the rest of her life for that chair. Or cat.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's move on to the next score here. We got Goofy effing Jace, 109. Silly Dilly, 73. A few weeks ago after a loss, I made the comment, Dilly's out there somewhere. I think Goofy this week was saying, thank God Dilly was out there somewhere. What do you guys think?
Hey, this was
Go
a
ahead,
nice win for Goofy when he, because he's sneaking. He's just up there, 4-1.
Yeah.
It's kind of incredible. Um, and yeah, it's a good time to play silly to stay up there. Um, I think I think the points four might catch him at some point, I suppose. But hey, who cares? Because you got to
Catch
win.
that one.
Right now points four don't really matter. You got the win, and like we said, if Dilly had Lockett and Fournette in there, this is a whole different game. So
Yeah.
so not only did Goofy get Dilly when he needed him, he made a trade just for him, like we said. Um, but man, I think Goofy's got. You talk about Goofy being 4-1, but then we talk about him about rebuilding quite a bit. And he's got a good young core actually, like Jalen
Mhm.
Hurts. Another fantastic game from him. The dude just balls out. It's pretty crazy. So,
Yep.
Brees Hall. After week one, I think most of us forgot he existed, maybe. But oh my God, here he is. Um,
Yeah, he's arrived.
yeah, that whole team is actually pretty exciting to watch. But yeah, I mean,
That's
Brees
the
Hall was
Jets you're
almost.
talking about. Are you sure you want to say that?
Yeah, they are. They're fun to watch. They're good.
Totally agree, by the way.
The
100%
crazy
agree.
part is the real question is doesn't it's not really fantasy related, but is Brees Hall even the best rookie on the Jets right now? I'm not so sure. I think
Sauce!
Sauce
That's a
is actually the best rookie that they have right now. That's absolutely incredible.
dang. You ruined my
He
dad
is
joke. I was going to say that's a pretty. I was going to say that's a pretty saucy comment, but I didn't get a chance to get it out. Or Sean started blaring out shit.
well, that's what I'm here for.
That's all right though. Yeah, you're right, man. He's doing really well. Um, yeah, and Goofy had a few. He had Waller that left early in the game. J.K. only got 8 carries in the game, so that Brees Hall breakout was timely for him. For Dylan, man, he had both Connor and Harris came out early in the game, so his two running backs just gave him nothing. Both came out of the game. His only double, they had two double-digit guys there. Rogers, 16.88. That's double digits, but that's not what you want on your quarterback, especially playing the Giants. You thought, oh yeah, here we go with 25 at least. And then
Speaking of the Jets being good, the Giants are pretty darn good, too.
yeah, the
They're
New
sneaky
York
good, too.
The
the New
Giants are
York
like the
teams are,
Goofy of the NFL. Like, why are they 4-1? But
Yeah,
but there they are.
exactly.
yeah,
There they are, and you got to deal with it. Yeah, Myers had 20.6 coming back off his injury. Yeah, that's a good one he's got there, but yeah, just not a lot else going on for him, man. It's a shame that he made that trade now. If he'd made it a week later, maybe he gets his first win. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Well, I mean, like, does does Silly really even care? Like, there's no way he's gonna make to the playoffs. So he wants to get the best assets he can moving down the line. I can agree with that. I mean, obviously, Dilly wants to be as competitive as possible because he's not a guy that gives up on anything, obviously. But I mean, if he feels that he got a good trade, I'm sure he doesn't care about uh getting one win this year because he's still going to be in the bottom four. He's
Yeah.
still going to have to. There's still a tournament in the bottom four, so I
I
don't
think
know.
when you
I
look
think
at
he
it from
feels
Silly's
fine with
roster,
it.
I think it was a good trade for him. Actually, I think. But
Dylan.
I mean, he loses this particular game, but like you said, who cares on this one? I
Yeah,
think.
true. I
Hmm.
mean, very true. I think I might have gone like one at a time. I think if he'd have traded them one at a time and maybe tried to get like a pick and an upside guy, um, maybe it would
That's
have been a
that's what I was saying about the trade because I think he moved all the assets that he needed to move. He was very
yeah,
smart in that aspect.
yeah,
But I think he would have gotten more bang for his buck if he had waited a couple more weeks where it started getting to the point where people are looking at points for and they're like, "Oh man, I need to get somebody else in here to get me 5 more points a week and then trade Leonard Fournette for a fucking boatload."
yeah. Wait for bye weeks. Like um, Henry's on bye this week for the DBs. So that Fournette could have maybe been even a little juicier I think I would have gone a la carte instead of giving him the meal deal. I would have sold them one at a time. Gone a la carte and gotten a little bit more money out of it. A little more value, I should say. Anyway. Well, let's go on to our last score here. We've got the Hoosier Daddies 94, Just the Tips 68. I have never been so depressed over a win in my life. I don't even want to talk about it, but I'll let you guys.
Go ahead and go first there, Marky Mark. Tell us what you feel.
Well, I mean, it's 3 out of 5 games I have lost a starting running back in the early stages of the game. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I guess maybe the commissioner curse is just focusing on me this year. I had 1 TD on my roster that was shared by Kyler and Hollywood. I don't even know where to start, man. I mean, just horrible, man. Just horrible. One of those days where you're not getting the alerts because you're not getting touchdowns, man. I got a few big plays, but I didn't get any touchdowns. So they could have won. Tips could have won with the perfect roster. They'd have set the perfect roster. They would have had 99.04 points, which would have beat my paltry 94. So I'm glad that they're not any better at setting a lineup.
Well, speaking of the New York Jets, Brees Hall had a freaking phenomenal day, almost 200 all-purpose yards, which you would think that would mean Michael Carter had a down day, but he did not. He had a good day. He had 10 carries, 21 yards, 2 touchdowns. That sounds more like a fucking tight end to me in my previous experience, but he got 2 receptions, 16 and a half points. That's pretty darn good for a guy that's supposedly second fiddle. And I mean, there's no way that he started Boone and thought he was going to get him 10 points. So I think he over projected for that. So I'm actually surprised to see Dalvin Singletary only get 5 points with Josh Allen just going absolutely bonkers. Because Dalvin Singletary has been giving a lot of check down. Devin Singletary is getting a lot of checkdowns, and he only got 2 targets this game. Dalvin, what a fucking idiot.
You've done that before.
Yeah.
We said the other one is Devin Cook, right? So got Devin Cook and Dalvin Singletary. If we check the tape on old shows, I think that's in there, man. You're
I'm sure
consistent.
some asshat is going to tell me you're right.
You're consistent, man. Consistency is a good thing. What do you think, Mike? Anything on this one?
So I wasn't going to say anything, but the timing of this is actually pretty good. So I got hit with the Naheem Hines going out early as well in another league, and I actually just got a text from my co-manager in another league who said, "Tell Sean I said hi and thanks for breaking my losing streak." So,
Oh man!
And we had Hines go out early.
So
Pour it on. I already want to throw myself off the freaking roof. Might as well throw myself off a little harder.
But I think Taysom Hill and Kelsey sucked all the tight end juice out of this game and used it for theirs. We talk about the tight end position being a wasteland outside the top 4, then we get in here and no one did a goddamn thing.
yeah.
Really,
Crazy,
it's an incredible. I don't know. I've never seen a tight end position like this, and I feel like we said that last year, and it just gets worse every single year. Like, at what point do you just drop the tight end position, just put them in a flex every year if you have them? Just drop the dedicated position.
I don't think it would take us too long to vote for that one. Say hell to the yeah, If you want to,
You mean I don't have to worry about getting 2 points from my fucking tight end
Yeah.
position? Yes.
if you want to put in Kelsey and Andrews as your flex, then that's fine. But don't make us start Conklin.
Yeah.
Don't make and Kittle. I sat freaking Kittle because he's been so bad,
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up scoring more than Conklin, but it was only like 5 point something to 1 point something. It's just atrocious, man. don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, maybe. Instead of a tight end premium, it'll be like no
Yeah.
tight end.
What's the
Half the
opposite of
tight
tight
end.
end
Zero
premium?
tight end.
Yeah, zero tight end. Oh yeah, it is. I guess there's a shift in the NFL the way they're doing things now, man. There was a while there where there was a lot of guys that you could spread around, and now it's two or three guys, and the rest of them suck. And then you got guys that they'll have a good game, and then they'll disappear for 2, 3, 4 games, and then maybe they'll have another good one. And it's like you have to be a mastermind and know when game script is going to be good for a certain tight end or not. So
Which is absolutely just a shot in the barrel.
yeah, I
Mhm.
don't have time to do all that. I'm trying to figure that out, man. Oh man. Well, that brings us to the Mr. Miyagi Award for the lowest score, which this week goes to Just the Tips. Ricky spoke up this week. He said, yeah, put it there with the others. Then have a seat on one of those walker legs. No need to remove the tennis ball. So yeah, he was a little salty when I brought him his what is it, third or fourth now he's gotten. So yeah, not he's not having it, man. He's it's basketball season. He don't care about the Miyagi. Well, I want to run down the standings for us, Mike. I'm sure you're happy to do that to this on this day.
Yeah, I mean, the underdogs, unfortunately for the rest of us, are still undefeated and in first place, but they did relinquish their top points for position, and not by a little bit. I'm right behind them in second
To
overall,
who?
but
Like,
I'm up there 40 points ahead of you. So you know, and really there wasn't much movement. I think the interesting thing is Aaron scored 183 points and actually dropped in the rankings, which is
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. Falls to two
crazy,
and
huh?
three, and if the season ended right now, he'd be in the Who Cares Bowl with Sean. But then the bottom four, I had to. I'm sorry.
too soon.
No movement in the bottom four. 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all the same. There was
I
actually
am
not much movement at all across the league. It was really just Aaron moved up, or Aaron moved down to fifth after a huge game, which is pretty devastating, actually.
and
But
Suck it, Aaron.
you talk about points for. Aaron is pacing the league with points against. He's closing in on 700 points against. So that sucks. Some I'm about to get torched this week.
Oh, that made me happy. All
well,
right, let's go
I
on.
am I'm the king of the bottom four. So if nothing else, man, I am the king of the bottom four right there. Got a good lead on
That's
all of them.
awesome. Getting yourself
Tops
your own trophy.
top seed of the Miyagi Bowl, man. So brighter days ahead for me for sure. I don't have my own first round pick in 23, so I'd be playing for somebody else, unless I make a trade. All right, let's go on to the matchups for next week. I'm going to start out with the Marky Mark matchup of the week. Tank Top Mike versus Goofy Jace.
Damn it.
So Mike's trying to keep the momentum going while Goofy needs that cushion between he and A-Bomb since he has 108 points less than him, even though he's ahead of him in the standings, like we just said. Mike, you want to start us off on your matchup?
Yeah, this one, and when you look at it in terms of the rankings, it's actually kind of an interesting one because Goofy and I are both 4-1, and this might be the first time that I can remember in our league in a long time that like we don't have anybody with 3 wins. There's nobody that's 3-2, so nobody can jump up into the top four with a win. So Goofy and I, yeah, one of us has to take the loss, but we're safe in the top four going into next week at least. But anyway, still a big matchup because we know that these are going to come down to the tied records and points for. So, but anyway, on my side, I've got some decisions to make still. I got the rough bye week with Josh Jacobs, who has absolutely been on a tear the last few weeks. And then the Lions are still probably going to be sitting DeAndre Swift, so I got some flex decisions to make. I'm hoping for one of those classic. You fire your head coach and your starting quarterback is gone. But the rest of the team just plays really well for no particular reason, and that DJ Moore benefits from that and actually scores some points. So I'm putting him in. He's in there. I'm proud, but I'm probably going to watch that game through closed fingers because it's going to be terrifying. And looking at Goofy's lineup, it looks like I get to go against the Packers and the Ravens this week. So.
That shouldn't have been your last point because that was going to be my first point. And
I guess the Eagles.
I'm gonna keep an eye on this. I'm gonna keep an eye on this matchup for two people. Either Mike Williams, he's got a queue going into this week. Maybe this is the week that Keenan Allen comes back, and then he can just do a 1-for-1 swap and not have to worry about it. But on your side, Mike, maybe this is a get right game for Pittman against Jacksonville. Jacksonville is still they're kind of good. Like I'm on this fence with Jacksonville. Are they good? Or are they not good? Or are they somebody I need to worry about? Are they the old like I don't know how to gauge Jacksonville right now. So maybe this is a get right game for Pittman and helps you out, but I think it's going to come down to one or two people, which you should when you're 4-1 and you're going up against another guy 4-1. So I think this is going to be a real good matchup. It's going to be a heck of a lot closer than what the projections are right now, though.
On Jacksonville, I think they're ascending, but they're just they're going to be up and down still. So it's weird because I remember a couple weeks ago thinking I had a good start against them, and then was it Indianapolis? I think maybe, and then they shut them out. But then they struggle in other games. So yeah, the Pittman thing. Is that who they got this week? Oh, gosh, yeah, they playing them. Yeah, they're playing them a couple of times pretty close together. Yeah. So maybe they can do better in the second go around. You got some tough matchups, Mike. As I look down yours, but your wide receiver 1 and 2, Cup and Diggs there, they have good matchups. They could carry it. They could definitely put up enough to carry you. Goofy's he's looking at a lot of red too, and he's got Hurts facing the one of the top defenses in the league in our Dallas Cowboys. So that'll be interesting to see who wins out there, good defense or Hurts, who's been really good in all but one game this year. And I think that was against Jacksonville, wasn't it? Wasn't his down game against Jacksonville? I don't know, but yeah, this should be a good one. Like you said, Sean, I think it could be closer than what the projections say. Well, that was a lot of silence, so I guess I'll move on to the next matchup.
Moving on.
Yeah. I was waiting for the crickets to go there, but we'll go on to our next matchup. We got Just the Tips versus the A Bombers. I feel good about A Bomb's chances to bounce back this week. What do we think, guys?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty handed win for A-Bomb, especially if Josh Allen comes out and drops another 35 points to Gabe Davis. I don't think the Tips have the lineup to be able to handle that and weather that type of storm. So I think this is going to go one way and one way only.
I'm gonna give the Tips some credit putting in Cooper Rush though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stafford's
let's go.
not been playing well anyway, so I guess why not? But go Cooper.
They're only playing Philadelphia. I think they're undefeated, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, so is Cooper Rush, so something has to end. He's going to throw for 110 yards this week.
Hey.
Yeah, no touchdowns.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd roll with Cooper. That's going to be a tough matchup. It's his first real. Well, we thought Cincinnati would be a tough matchup, but I think Dallas did a good job of game planning for that. So we'll have to see. Do they game plan well for Philly or not?
Oh, I also
Well,
just
his
realized
only other option,
they traded away Stafford, didn't they? So
yeah, only
Tannehill's on
other
a
option was
bye.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Tannehill's on a bye. Mayfield isn't playing, and their other one is Deshaun Watson. So I take it back. You have to start Cooper Rush. You don't deserve him.
You don't deserve it.
Yeah, they've got a lot of tough matchups. I mean, they got pretty much a rebuild roster anyway, and a lot of tough matchups with the guys I do have in there. A-Bomb is still rolling with Parker so far. Hopefully he doesn't goose egg him again, and he's got Knox in there right now. I think Knox is trending towards doubtful, but I could be wrong about that. But I don't know if Knox will even be in the game. I know that the backup tight end was a big. He's one of the trending up players for in the that people are picking up right now. Quentin somebody, and then he's got TDP could be back. I don't know how much playing time he'd get, but he had a full practice and he might be back. So maybe that's somebody he can flex in. But I don't know. I think he's got enough at the top end of his roster not to have to worry too much about that bottom end, especially
Well,
in
he
that.
doesn't have any other options over Parker. If Parker gets 5 points, I think that outscores almost 80% of his bench right now. So
Yeah,
I think he's gonna have to do it and fly with it.
yeah,
He has some pretty good history with low end players doing very well.
That's
So
true. That's true.
yeah. I should look at who he's got in the flex and then see if I can trade for him or pick him up in other leagues. You know, when you get these bye weeks, who's A Bomb starting? Who's the no name that A Bomb starting this week? I got to go get him.
Jack Ross from the practice squad. Let's go. He's
Uh,
good for 40.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna have too much trouble in this one. Good, I guess if he's gonna have issues like that, it's a good week for him to have it. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. This one's a good one too. I think we got the Prince going up against the DBs. This is the only matchup this week between two of the top five from last season. Sean, are you going to knock the DBs off that perch up there?
Well, I freaking hope so. Golly. I don't think my soul can take another week like last week. Holy cow. I want to make a point that Joe Burrow did score more than Zappy, so up yours, Brandon. That's just a little start for this week, you know. I think for me it's gonna just come down to what we've been talking about all season. These wide receivers that I have, I think they need to hit all on the same week, and no one's going to be able to keep up with me, I think. But I haven't had that once yet. And Olave's hurt, which kind of sucks because he's been carrying me quite a bit. And Pierce is on bye, so it's gonna be a rough week. But I got lucky. I don't have to go against King Henry. I still have to go against freaking DMC. So hopefully they throw the ball a lot to DJ Moore, and Mike's happy, and I'm happy, and CMC is adequate at best.
Yay!
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, I think we do say it pretty often with your team, but if they're all going to hit this week, and here it comes, because I can't
Well, if
stand
it happens, I'll give you all the credit.
it. I think this is one of those I'm going to be watching pretty close because, like Evan said, that the 5-0 record, they tied it. So, and not only if you beat them, that pretty much locks you in for second place on the season. So, oh wait, that's them. Never mind. So yeah, I figured about that part.
You can edit
Thanks,
that
Mike.
out.
Thanks,
Edit
Tank
that.
Top.
Maybe if
Appreciate you.
you lose, if
Win
they
a
get the
couple
record
games?
to
Yeah,
you,
go
maybe
ahead.
it reverses and you get second place.
Oh, maybe that's how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, buys don't affect too much. I think Henry out, Pierce out. I think that the nod goes to you there as far as your buy players. That didn't sound right, did it?
No, didn't sound
Your
right
buy
at all.
players. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, their overall projections down a bit. I guess probably because Henry is out. Usually it seems like they're somewhere in the 130s up to around 140 in their weekly projections, but they're down below that a little bit. Your Joe Squared, man. It's just not been great this year with Burrow and Mixon. And I said a couple weeks ago they needed a get right game when they were playing the Jets, and I mean they did okay, but still not seeing what we want to out of that Cincinnati offense. It's been kind of it's been down, and I'm suffering with Chase too. I was looking at someone did a side by side route tree thing between Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, and it was pathetic looking at the Chase side. It's like he's got no depth on his targets. It's real simple stuff. I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? Yeah, and you look at Jefferson, and he's doing everything from everywhere. And freaking Chase, who's as good as a talent, and they're running him out there like I don't know, man. It looks like a freaking high school diagram to me.
Well, not to beat a dead horse any more than it already is, but it's the fucking offensive line. They went out and spent a bunch of money on the offensive line to hopefully make it better, and they didn't do it. It's god awful. And Joe Burrow is running for his life, and when he's not running for his life, he feels like he needs to run for his life. So all of the depth that freaking Chase was getting, like all the deep throws and everything, there's no time for that crap. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixon, you can't run through 6 dudes at a time, and Samaje Perine getting points because he's getting little dump offs into the flat that Mixon could do. If they would
Yeah.
just do that with Mixon, Mixon
Yeah.
could get out in the freaking flat. All right, I'm not trying to get on
Yeah, no, they
my
seem
soapbox
determined
for the
that
third
one
time
has
today.
one role and one has the other, and they seem determined to keep that going. But yeah, it's right. We thought their line was better, but it hasn't come together. And I think Collins has been hobbled, and I think he's on the injury report this week. So yeah, it's you're right about that. It's like they're having to break off the routes. They're not able to get the full route before he's under pressure, and I think he's
Hmm.
hearing footsteps a little bit. So I don't know, man. That's a big part
Funny
of.
story. Funny story. Joe Burrow's doing a press conference, and somebody cleared his throat, and it scared the crap
Yeah,
out of Joe Burrow.
I saw
That
that.
is that is
He's got
what
the
Joe Burrow's living with day in and day out.
he's spooked.
Scared.
PTSD going on there,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, yeah. It's
After 3
unfortunate.
seasons of getting your ass kicked, you'd have PTSD too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys are just gonna have to all hit to keep pace. I think they've got a decent roster in there, and you guys are gonna you have one, but there's been some ups and downs with it, and you got Waddle with Skyler again this week, most likely. I know Tua's out. I don't think Bridgewater's gonna be cleared to play. You got Olavi in concussion protocol, although Mike said it looked promising for him to return. So maybe that's somebody you can put in there. But yeah, it's tough. You need them all to come together for you this week if you're going to get that win. Good luck to you. Good luck to you.
We'll see.
You can do it.
Yeah, we got to keep it at 5-0. We got to keep that trend going. And that
Anybody
would
wants to trade me really good players for nothing, I am open for business.
yeah
Let's
that could
go.
it could be tough for him because
Commissioner, put your earmuffs on.
yeah. But yeah, if they lose and Mike wins, then they drop from that perch. That's what I was talking about when I said, "Are you going to knock them off that perch?" All right, let's move on to Poo Crew versus FNG. I smell an upset here, fellas. What say you, Sean?
God, please fucking upset. I would be so happy. Not as happy as me beating him because that will be delightful when it actually happens. I know Ian's gonna come in right about now with the against score of him and I, but if FNG beats the Poo Crew, I'm going to send some alcoholic beverages to the FNG desk, and he's gonna show up and be so happy.
What do you think, Mike? Is there a chance here? I say I smell upset. I've got my reasons, but as you look up and down the rosters, you see any? You see what I see? Well, all right. I'll just let me throw out some stuff here. They got JT and Higgins in there, both questionable. I'd say they're probably trending to not play. You got Herbert going against Denver. Denver's a mess, but they do have a good defense. A lot of metrics. They're leading in a lot of metrics. So if they can, finally put it together and get the coaches' heads out of their tails, then they could put together something against Herbert there. You got Kelsey going up against Buffalo. You think Kelsey's going to go 4 TDs against Buffalo? Yeah, I think they're smart enough to
Hell
figure
yeah,
out
he
who
is.
the hell to cover. So he's got some things on the roster there that are a little questionable at this point. You got a lot of green and orange for FNG in his starting lineup. Sanders against Dallas is tough, and Cooper against New England's tough. But you get that Pats defense in there this week, and some of those matchups hit. I don't know. I could see FNG pulling it off.
Yeah, F&G is good for what? We had like two or three wins last year. They were all
Three.
upset. So he's good for
For
a
the
few throughout the
for
season.
the lesser roster than he has right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So
That's very
yeah.
true. Godwin's coming back. They're playing against Pittsburgh.
Ooh, that's a green light matchup right there.
Ramon Stevenson's been killing it, and they're playing against Cleveland.
Dallas Goddard is a tight end 5.
Yeah, but Dallas Goddard's playing against Dallas, and
Yeah,
that's
they're
not
good.
ever very good. They're
Yeah.
they're real good.
I don't know. I could see some dump offs to him if they're getting enough pressure on. Goddard would be the guy I'd be looking for because you don't have to look too hard. Where's big fella?
Well,
Dump it off.
I'm gonna disagree and say Devontae Smith is the guy that they should be looking at early, often, in all fucking game. So I'm gonna have to disagree. Sorry.
I certainly would game script him in for some quick hitters. That's the way you beat pressure.
All touchdowns have to go through Smith.
Well,
They have to be double approved by me, which they will not be. So don't waste your time.
again, a boy can dream. I'm pulling for FNG. Ian has accused us of not talking about him enough, so I wanted to make sure I talk about him plenty.
God.
I think he said.
Yeah.
I think he said that our coverage of certain rosters over others is egregious. I guess I could go back and look at comments. I don't like to share too many comments, but
Like less than 12 hours after Kelsey dropped his big old turd all over my fucking lineup, Crew Crew, in perfect fashion, gave me a percentage breakdown of how often we talk about his stupid lineup, and it was absolutely annoying.
yeah.
Absolutely annoying.
So it wasn't just me. Did he hit you up too, Mikey?
There was a breakdown that I was sent. Yeah.
All right. So we're trying, Poo Crew. We're trying to give you a little bit more coverage. So how will you lose this week? Let us count the ways.
Yes, please
we
lose.
We tried. Gave it the old college try. All right, let's go on to our last matchup here. We got the Hoosier Daddies versus Silly Dilly. So I guess I'm happy for the trade too, And again, we had a couple weeks ago, and I said Dilly's out there somewhere. I hope karma doesn't come back and bite me on the butt. Maybe that trade will help. What do we think, guys?
Well, Silly Dilly's got to win one, you think? Like just odds of
Yeah. Blind
odds,
squirrel. We got the blind squirrel is always in play.
Maybe Higby gets like 3 touchdowns like somebody else I remember.
He's getting a lot of targets.
Well, Jacoby Meyer got a touchdown last week, and that was his 3rd touchdown in his career. So all things are looking up, silly Dilly side.
I like
And
that.
if you can put 2 running backs together that will be beneficial for you, I think that will be beneficial for you.
I like that he's got
That's
James
some fantasy.
Conner and Eno Benjamin in. One of them is going to play, and they
Yeah.
will score points. So
What about the other one, though?
nope, probably won't play. But if they're both in there, you never know.
You can't be wrong.
That's true. Hmm.
I'm happy for Dylan and Eno Benjamin because he and I have both been aficionados of Eno, and he hasn't really gotten his chance. So here it is. What a fitting way to get him in there against me, who has been kind of in his corner with Benjamin. I have him in another league, and I told him, I was like, hey man, I like Eno, and I think he drafted him in this league, and one of my late round dart throws that I didn't get, so I gave Dilly some props on that. So I actually have Eno in a lineup this week too, so be interesting to see what happens there. But pretty much the buys aren't affecting me this week, so I need some points as well if I want to keep my head above water. So I don't just need a win here. I need to get some points. I like a lot of Dylan's players, but I like him as like high upside guys. Most of them seem to be in a committee, or they're the 2 and 3 options on their team. So I look up and down. I'm like, I don't hate these guys, but I don't like them as a starting lineup overall, except for Jacoby probably. So, but
You never know. He could come out of nowhere,
no, I know,
That's the
man.
thing about teams like his. You can't bank in fantasy football in general. You never know when it's going to happen, but it should happen at least once.
Well, that's why I say karma, because it seems like anytime I try to trash talk, it comes back and bites me on the ass. So I said, "Hey, Dylan's out there somewhere," and we had a good laugh about it. And he's if
It's
he
still
wins,
funny though.
I think I may hear about that. I just may hear about that. Oh, let's hope not, because I might have to burn it down if I lose to Dylan after that trade,
Oh man,
especially.
Mike, did you just hear that? He's gonna burn it down.
Dude, man, dude. I mean, gotta be
It'd be
realistic.
hilarious if he does, and Dilly has Mick Jammer on a board, and he's just like crossed out. I killed Mick Jammer. Now I kind of want to see Dilly do it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
You're
The
welcome.
love. Feel the love, man. Feel the love. I think that about
Well,
wraps it up, Sean. What do you think?
That's week 5 in review, and I think week 6 probably won't live up to week 5, but damn, can we hope? I'm gonna do all right. This is a little message to the rest of the league. I'm gonna do everything I DBs not to freaking be 6-0. Like I said, if you have any players that you just wanna give me earmuffs, Mish, I will take in all trades. All right. If you've ever seen the show, you know how we end it. Ian, you suck.